incoming Congresspeople Jamaal Bowman and Cori Bush were asked if they're going to support Nancy Pelosi for Speaker of the House. This is interesting. Look at what they had to say.
And real quick, before I let you both go, something looking ahead at that you're both going to have to vote on, which is the Speaker of the House, Congresswoman-elect Bush. Will you vote for Nancy Pelosi as Speaker?
What I'm going to do is make sure that the voices of the people of St. Louis are heard and that we have what we need. And so you'll find out then.
That's not a yes.
I'm working with my community. I'm working with my community.
Okay. And Congressman-elect Bowman, will you vote for Nancy Pelosi as Speaker?
So you will find out when my vote is tallied, and again, organizing with our community to figure out what's best.
My favorite part is the CNN host Dana Bash saying, that's not a yes. It's not a yes. Bow, bend your knee. I like these answers. I do. Now, I do think people are reading too much into it, though. Like, I feel like people are reading into this that they're going to do hashtag force the vote. That's not my takeaway. My takeaway is there's a few things it could be, but number one, that there are backroom negotiations going on, which I'm sure there are. But, you know, my contention has always been those don't work nearly as well as when you use the bully pulpit. And as we already saw, AOC was snubbed for a committee seat that she thought she was a lock to get. So, you know, those backroom negotiations didn't work out too well in that scenario, now did it. So thing number one this tells me is maybe there are backroom negotiations happening, and if there are backroom negotiations happening, you do want the left flank to not just commit to this up front. So Pelosi knows, like, hey, you got to do stuff for us. It's also possible that, you know, Cori Bush and Jamaal Bowman, just like all the Justice Democrats, they've probably been hearing all the public pressure, guys. They've probably been hearing everybody really being aggressive about the fact that we need material improvement. We need Medicare for all. We need to fight. And if they've been on social media, they've seen that public pressure, and this would be a logical, reasonable, rational response to dealing with that public pressure. If the public pressure is, hey, leverage your vote, then they say something like this, it's a hint that, yeah, we're going to leverage our vote for something. Again, is it necessarily going to be a floor vote on Medicare for all? No, but for something. And then the other possibility is they say this because they want a better option to emerge. Now, I think it is too late for that, to be fair, but yeah, I think that, you know, all the Justice Democrats have kind of admitted to one extent or another, we need a better, further left option to emerge, whether that's Pramila Jayapal or Barbara Lee. You know, these things are up in the air and questionable, and you could debate it. But, yeah, I think everybody's sort of holding out hope that there is somebody better that comes along, because Nancy Pelosi is certainly unacceptable, and she has not been a successful leader. And this whole master negotiator myth that has, you know, come out around her is infuriating and nauseating. So I will add to this conversation as well that, interestingly, Ilhan Omar tweeted at Nancy Pelosi responding to a video that was tweeted of Nancy Pelosi arguing for a vote on Medicare for all in 1994. Ilhan Omar tweeted at Nancy Pelosi, hey, we should have a vote on this now. Now, again, I think people are maybe reading too much into that Ilhan Omar is going to officially support hashtag force the vote. I don't know if that's true, because that would require actually withholding her vote to force that vote on Medicare for all, and I don't know if they have the numbers. I don't know if they're organized. They seem to be against the idea of hashtag force the vote. But at least it's some sort of, you know, token level of support of like, no, I agree. We should have a vote on Medicare for all, for sure. And to publicly say something like that does show a little bit of bravery and courage. So credit to Ilhan on that. Credit to Jamaal Bowman and Cori Bush here as well. I wouldn't get too ahead of ourselves, though, because I think there's a decent chance they will end up voting for Pelosi if they see no better option. But, I mean, keep up the pressure. Keep up the pressure, because, you know, it's not unreasonable to demand more from our politicians, especially when it comes to healthcare in the middle of a pandemic. Don't let anybody tell you you're crazy for wanting to try to force universal coverage in the middle of a pandemic. That's only the most reasonable thing I've ever heard in my entire life.